Thanks, Ron. Welcome, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I'm here to talk about some of the security-related announcements we had from reInvent. And feel free to jump in if you have any questions along the way here. So I'm going to start with identity and access management. So this is one of the big ones that I like from reInvent. We actually announced this right before reInvent, but with AWS organizations, this announcement gives you the ability to remove root credentials from member accounts within your AWS organization. And it also prevents the creation by default of new root credentials. So you still need a root email address, but with this, you can create new member accounts without root credentials from the start. You can remove root credentials from existing accounts, which means that things now can be secure by default. You don't have to worry about managing MFA across all of these secondary accounts. But that also means that there are times when you still need root access into an account. There's still a few reasons for that. One of them, for instance, is if you get locked out of an S3 bucket. So now we have the ability through AWS organizations to take privilege actions in member accounts. One of those is for allowing password recovery if you do need to get root credentials, or say to go get access to an S3 bucket that you accidentally locked yourself out of with a bucket policy. So there's a few things like that still need those root privileges, and now we give you the capability to do that. So really nice for managing accounts at scale. Another feature that we announced with AWS organizations is resource control policies. So resource control policies are similar to service control policies, which provide upper bounds on permissions that can be granted by identity-based policies in your organization. Resource control policies allow you to limit the permissions that can be granted by resources or resource policies in your organization. You can use these, again, through the AWS Organizations Console or API. You do need to be part of an AWS organization. They're available in all regions today, and there's no additional charge for them. Things that you can do with RCPs, for instance, you can make sure that you always use TLS protocols for S3 requests. You can require uploads to S3, use KMS. So there's a few services that support these today, which you can see on the screen, and we'll be adding more support with resource control policies as we go forward. Another nice announcement regarding security is these declarative policies. So it's with intent is great with SCPs, RCPs, and IAM policies, but managing intent isn't always sufficient. Sometimes you want to have a way to enforce policies across a large organization. So we're announcing this capability with declarative policies. It's a new type of management policy that focuses on security and compliance. Rather than simply providing the maximum permissions like SCPs and RCPs does, this actually enforces some of those. So declarative policies focus on the desired outcome of a policy, such as to prevent public access to a VPC or to limit the AMIs that can be used to launch EC2 instances. So initially we got support for EC2, VPCs, and EBS, and again, we'll be adding more controls as we move forward. All right, we're going to jump over to Amazon Cognito. A lot of big changes with Cognito in this announcement. So the first one we're going to talk about is the new managed login. So while a lot of our customers were using the Cognito hosted UI, it had limited flexibility to customize the look and feel. Cognito managed login is a new and improved hosted UI, which provides a new collection of web interfaces with built-in responsive functionality and a new branding designer that lets you manage the login assets and style without code. You can see some of the things on the screen there that you'll be able to customize right in the browser and get a preview of what it's going to look like. So if you're using the Cognito hosted UI today, you definitely want to look at this Cognito managed login. Moving along with some additional functionality with Cognito. So in addition to making your login experience a little more consistent with your application look and feel, you can now streamline that authentication itself. So rather than requiring users to set up and remember username and passwords, you can take advantage of modern passwordless authentication methods like one-time passwords via SMS or email and WebAuthn based passkeys. So if you're using Cognito user pools today, this is something that you want to take a look at. And finally, on Cognito, we announced some new feature tiers. With these new capabilities, the feature tiers provides more flexible pricing on the features that you might want to use. If you want to take advantage of the new passwordless authentication and the managed logging capabilities, you want to use the Essentials tier. If you need the advanced security capabilities, switch to the Plus tier. One of the big things with the Plus tier over the existing Cognito advanced security features is up 60% cost savings compared to the previous Cognito advanced security features. And you have the same feature set. So significant price reduction there. If you're currently a Cognito user, you'll be moved to the Lite tier. But if you want to take advantage of some more of these features, you want to probably look at moving to the Essentials tier.
Hey, Bert.
Yes.
We had one question from a gentleman who wondered about how do you go about enforcing some of the security policies, not on a group level, if you pull up the chat there. His question was, can you make it more granular and apply to specific, as you can see here, specific users and smaller groups versus just a global enforcement?
So resource control policies are assigned to resources, not to users and groups. So you would assign a resource control policy to S3 buckets, for instance, or SQS cube, things like that. So resource control policies are the equivalent of service control policies, which apply to the service side of things, but now to the resource side of things. So it's not something that you would apply to users. For users, you would still use IAM policies.
And Musti, and just in general, for all the in-person and virtual attendees, when you have granular questions, want to keep it as interactive as possible, I'll also send a follow-up email to connect you with Bert, because each organization is going to be a little bit different. There's going to be unique characteristics in your company versus another. And Bert, John, Nick, and others will put you in touch with the right person who's part of your AWS technical support team.
Yep. Thanks, Ron. All right, we're going to move on to detection and response next. And I think I see Nick posted a blog post on RCPs. Thank you, Nick, for posting that. All right, we're going to start with Amazon Guard Duty. If you guys aren't familiar with Amazon Guard Duty, this is an ML-powered threat detection system. I recommend that everybody have this enabled in their accounts. It's very cost-effective. We've announced an extended threat detection capability. This new capability uses artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms that are trained at AWS scale to automatically correlate security signals from across AWS services to detect critical threats. So this allows for the identification of attack sequences, such as credential compromise followed by data exfiltration, and represents them as a single critical severity finding. We will send those findings. You can get them in the Guard Duty Console, but we'll also send them in Security Hub. We'll provide an incident summary, a detailed events timeline, mapping to the MITRE attack tactics and techniques, and remediation recommendations for those. This is available everywhere Guard Duty is available. And another nice thing about this one, it's available at no extra charge. Next thing, I don't know if we'll cover this later with analytics, but I do cover it here from a security perspective. OpenSearch Zero ETL with Amazon Security Lake. So Amazon Security Lake is our security lake that's based on the Open Cybersecurity Framework. So it's a common log format, and it allows you to ingest all of your security partners and security alerts into one common schema in S3. With Zero ETL with OpenSearch, now you don't have to load that data into OpenSearch to build OpenSearch dashboards on top of it. So really nice integration with Zero ETL here. And finally in this section, a new service offering, we announced the AWS Security Incident Response. This helps you respond when it matters the most. This service combines the power of automated reasoning or automated monitoring and investigation, accelerated communication and coordination, and direct 24/7 access to the AWS customer incident response team to quickly prepare for and respond to and recover from security events. So this is a service, if anybody ever had a security incident in AWS, we have a response team that helps you out. This is builds on top of that with more of a proactive look at your environment. So we're constantly monitoring, and it allows you to rapidly escalate any kind of security incidents in your environment. All right, moving on to infrastructure protection. If anybody's familiar with verified access, this is a service that makes it possible to access applications securely without using VPN, using AWS Zero Trust capabilities. So internal to AWS, I've been using, when I first joined AWS, I should say in 2018, I would VPN in the morning to get access to the resources that I needed. But in the last few years, I don't need to connect via VPN anymore. I have this access through verified access into all of the resources I need within AWS. Verified access has been around for a couple of years now. Previously, it was only supporting HTTP, HTTPS protocols. But with this launch, you can extend verified access policies to enable secure access to non-web-based resources such as Git repositories, databases, and much more, including support for SSH, RDP, and TCP. So if you want to provide secure access to corporate-based resources without having to manage VPN, a verified access is something that you'd want to take a look at. Amazon Route 53 Resolver DNS Firewall. This is a service that has been around for a while, but with DNS Firewall Advanced, we've added a new set of capabilities on top of the DNS Firewall that allows you to monitor and block suspicious DNS traffic associated with advanced DNS threats, such as DNS tunneling and domain generation algorithms that are designed to avoid detection by threat intelligence feeds or are difficult for threat intelligence feeds alone to track and block in time. So another really nice feature based on all of the knowledge that AWS gathers from our threat intelligence sources out there. Question in the chat: are these AWS tools just for Windows-based shops or any other based platforms as well? For verified access, I assume that's what you're referring to, Anna. The verified access can be used for any OS. Let me know if that answered your question, Anna. Building on those, some of those policies I mentioned earlier, the declarative policies, the block public access or BPA, so VPC BPA is a new centralized declarative control that enables network and security administrators to authoritatively block internet traffic for their VPCs. So this supersedes anything else that's set up in an account. So it allows you to launch AWS resources in a logically isolated virtual network and not have to worry that somebody might be attaching an internet gateway or a NAT gateway to provide public access. So this is using those declarative policies. All right, I'm going to round out with a few additional security launches. CloudTrail Lake, we had a couple significant announcements or enhancements to CloudTrail Lake, which is a managed data lake, allows you to aggregate, immutably store, and analyze your CloudTrail activity logs. So these are all your API logs. So we've added a new highlights dashboard that provides an at-a-glance overview of your AWS activity logs, including AI-powered insights. That's currently in preview. We've also added the ability for cross-account sharing of event data sources. So this allows you to securely share your event data stores with select IAM identities using resource-based policies. So building on some of those features I mentioned earlier. The AWS Resilience Hub includes some new capabilities as well. The two key things here I wanted to highlight: a new summary view that provides an executive level overview of the resilience posture of your application portfolio. So with this, you can visualize the state of your applications and enable efficient management and improvement of your resilience posture. So this helps you to quickly identify applications that may have single points of failure that require remediation, and helps you to streamline your resilience management across your portfolio. So another nice service to help you build resiliency into your applications. And let's see, we're going to talk a little bit about CloudFront VPC origins. Nick, did you touch on this one? I forget.
I did not.
This is so with VPC CloudFront origins. So this is a nice announcement that prior to having this, if you're using CloudFront for public-facing applications, you still had to have the origins for those in public subnets. So your application load balancers, your EC2 instances, now you can put those into a private subnet. And using VPC origins, CloudFront can reach into that private subnet directly. So another way to help secure your workloads by getting them out of public subnets. It's a really nice networking security feature here. And another one that has been an asked for request for many, many years is the ability to share security groups across VPC. So Amazon VPC now supports security group VPC associations, allowing you to create and apply security groups across multiple VPCs within the same account, within the same region. So this enhances the flexibility by allowing you to manage security policies across diverse network environments, enabling the reuse of security group across VPCs. Administrators can ensure consistent security group rules for similar workloads deployed in different VPCs. So it simplifies the configuration and maintenance workflows and reduces the overhead of maintaining separate security group configurations for each VPC. And lastly, I just want to touch on the API gateway. Another highly requested feature enhancement is the ability now to have custom domain support for private REST APIs. So if you have a private API gateway, not in a public subnet, so in the public subnet, you could always associate custom domain names with those, but not in the private one. So now we have the ability to let you use your internal custom domain names for private API gateways. All right, that wraps up the major announcements that I wanted to cover. I am in this deck that you can download. I believe Ron, you made the decks available. There is going to be a bunch of links to a number of security, identity, and compliance recorded sessions that you can find out on our YouTube pages. As well as in this deck, you'll have a large launch summary with links to all the different features that we were talking about today. So this will be in the security deck. And the last thing I'll leave you through for in this deck is some links to the keynotes. Definitely, if you haven't checked out the keynotes, I encourage you to go look at the various keynotes, especially Werner Vogel's, our CTO. Very interesting from a technology standpoint. But there's also a link to all the breakout sessions by topic that you can go check out. And as Nick pointed out, thousands of sessions there, and I believe there's around 1,000 now that are uploaded to that YouTube page. So lots of stuff to look at over the holidays.